got Mr. Oluremi Omawai, who is the former Commissioner for Works and Transport in Osun State, Executive Director, Project Implementation, FHA. Good morning, and thank you for coming on today on the program, sir. But understand we also do have Oluomo Kwalapo Alimi, who served as the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs for Osun State. He joins us virtually. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you for having me. I'm not the commissioner. Thank you for having me. I'm not the commissioner.
Okay, there's a loop, so we'll try and correct that. We'll sort that out before we come back to you. So, tell us. There's a lot of, this seems muddled a little bit in terms of what's really going on. Because when they heard the governor speak that the local governments are being occupied illegally by persons who, quote unquote, their tenure ended in October this year. And so they shouldn't be in office, as he said they were. They still are. What's your understanding of what's going on?
Well, thank you very much. It's not about what's my understanding. It's about what is actually the fact. There's a valid February 10, 2025 Court of Appeal judgment that allowed the appeal of the APC chairman and councillor that reinstated them into the office. Now, what the Osun government should have done was to appeal that Court of Appeal judgment by going to Supreme Court. But they did not do that. So instead, they went about parabolating and instituting a lot of various legal cases. And the governor keeps on saying all sorts of things. He had a broadcast a few days ago, and he claimed that their tenure had expired. And initially, what the governor said was they are not even supposed to be there. Now he's saying their tenure has expired. If you looked at the speech of the governor, you saw a lot of contradiction. So apparently the governor is even confused. He does not know what is happening. But what is clear is there's a valid court judgment of February 10, the Supreme Court, at the Court of Appeal, that was not appealed by the Osun and the PDP Accord people. So we don't need to start going back and forth. What is important is, at the moment, in the eyes of the law, those in the council are the legal occupants of the council. That's simple.
When you say there's a lot of confusion in terms of what the governor has said, and then them being valid occupants of the law, when does their tenure elapse?
Now, let me just briefly run through what happened. These people conducted the election. They were supposed to start their tenure October 2022. The governor came in November 27, 2022, and sacked those people, inching on a federal high court judgment of November 25th, 2022. So as a law-abiding people, we left. Ordinarily, our chairman and council were supposed to be allowed to explore the option of going to Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, but the governor sacks them based on the 25th of November 2022 Federal Court judgment. So our councillors and chairman approached the Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal gave judgment February 10, 2025, allowing all the appeal, reinstating them back to the council. Now, the question is, when they were sworn in, they did not collect salary. They were not allowed to carry out any duty. The legislative arm, the councils were not inaugurated. So our own councillors and chairmen have now approached the court to now determine when is our tenure supposed to start. Because it was February 10, 2025 that the Court of Appeal reinstated us.
Yeah, but
so it's just like in the case of Rotimi Amechi and Celeste Omea. Celeste Omea was there for 9 months. Rotimi Amechi came to complete his term because they were in the same party. But in the case of Peter Obi and this other man in Anambra, they said because we were a different party. You know, when Peter Obi initially came in as governor of Anambra, they thought he was going to complete the tenure of Andy Uba. But the court now gave judgment that he's starting afresh. So we have also approached the court that for us, we feel since the day we came back was February 10. The tenure should start, the 3 years tenure should start from February 10.
Has the court said you should start when you're requesting to start?
No, we are in the court now. The court has not determined the suit.
But they are still occupying the office.
Yes, because they can't be vacuum. When you are in office and there are legal clauses, you wait till the court determines the suit. Because don't forget that they did not collect salary, they did not do anything after they were inaugurated. The governor just came and sacked them. The governor did not allow them to do anything. They did not collect salary. They were not the local legislative were not inaugurated.
Yeah, but
so it's simple.
So I mean, people watching from some might think, well, even if the court reinstated them, the courts would have reinstated them based on the first election that continued. I mean, that brought them in the office in the first instance.
Yes.
Hence that appeal. But they also then say there's been another election, hasn't there, in the state?
If suddenly INEC wakes up tomorrow and they are conducting an election for the president of Nigeria, would that stand?
Oh, did INEC have any court judgments not to? Was there any legal?
No, there was validly elected.
No, the
election was conducted February 22nd, no, after the Court of Appeal had reinstated them. So there was no vacancy as at when the election was conducted.
Was there any law that INEC violated telling them you cannot conduct elections?
You are not getting the point. You are not getting the point. There was no vacuum as at the time the OCEC in Osun went to conduct election. So the election does not stand. The election was conducted February 22nd. The Court of Appeal,
have they challenged that in court?
Who?
The election that was conducted.
No, because it does not even stand, because there was no vacuum.
So that's
I'm telling you now, it's just like...
No, it's the same argument they have. That whatever these other guys who are occupying are doing doesn't stand. But you were saying...
The argument is different from what the law has said. The argument is different from what is clear in the Court of Appeal judgment.
No, but if there's a certain thing that had happened, and you want it cancelled or prove that this doesn't exist in the eye of the law, isn't it the court of law that can decide that?
I just told you now that
concerning the election that INEC has conducted.
I just told you that not INEC, OCEC, not INEC.
Sorry, yeah,
I just told you now that the chairman of the councils and the councillor had approached the court to now say when is our tenure supposed to start.
I heard that. You didn't tell me they approached the court to challenge the election OCEC conducted. You didn't tell me that.
What I'm telling you is there's no even need for that because there was no vacuum as at when the election was conducted. There was no vacuum.
So right now they are in that occupying the seats. Okay, let's see if we could also bring in Mr. Olomo Alimi. I think do we have? Okay, I think we'll have him back. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I'm sure you must have heard what Mr. Moye has said. What's your? Maybe you tell us what do you think is a fact as well of this matter?
Thank you. The story. Was the pool of the.
Okay, well, we seem to have lost that. So, the situation right now, because if you say now they are claiming we are the validly elected officials, the election has been conducted, which nobody challenged, and so that, from the eyes of the law, from their perspective, stands. But you're saying that, no, as far as that group is concerned, that election shouldn't have held in the first instance.
No, you're not getting this thing, sir. There was no vacuum. I just give an instance now. I am from, you are from, let's say, someone just wake up tomorrow
I hear what
and
you're
call
saying.
himself the governor of Lagos.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm going to agree because he woke up and he called himself governor of Lagos.
No. I hear what you're saying clearly.
Yeah.
This is a valid institution of elections that is set out. They carry out the processes to conduct an election.
Yes.
If you can't just sit back and say, well, whatever you're doing doesn't stand, and so I'm not going to do anything about it. What other people have done...
Let me also tell you...
let me you respond. What other people have done in this case, when they see this going in a certain trajectory, they go to court and tell them to stop that process legally so it doesn't degenerate into people taking laws into their hands. Yeah. That's what people expect to have been done.
Yes, we even have a legal suit around that because even the chairman of the OCEC is a card-carrying member of PDP. So we have a legal suit on that. But why I'm not emphasizing on that is that is not too important because as at when they went to carry out the jamboree, there was no vacuum in the council. It was clear. You see, you got a judgment. and the judgment says you brought appeal, and your appeals are allowed in full. Go back to council. What the Osun State government should have done is simple. Approach the Supreme Court. They did not. Instead of that, they were going round. As I speak to you, like they've gone to magistrate court for this case. So it tells you they are confused. They have over 10 cases on this. And most of these cases, they keep on withdrawing. Once they get to a level, they will withdraw. So what I'm saying is there's no need for us to be going back and forth. The law is clear, and we should follow what the law says.
I'm sorry, I think Ayo has questions for you as well. Ayo, go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Engineer Mawaya, I'm not sure you really understood what the question that Chamberlain was asking. We understand the point you're making about, no space, no vacuum, and all of those things. The question is, first of all, maybe I should ask it, is the chairman, are the local government chairman currently in office, according to you, are they aware that the local government elections held in Osun State? Can you hear me, Engineer Moy?
I need to take that again because we lost a part of what you said.
Good. Are you aware, Engineer Moy, are the local government chairman in Osun State, are they aware, were they aware when that election Chamberlain referenced was going to hold?
As far as I've told you, as far as we are concerned, there was no vacancy in the council.
The question is, are you aware, were the local government chairman aware that that election, which you say is invalid, was going to hold? Were you aware?
No, it was everywhere. They said they wanted to do jamboree, and the Attorney General of the Federation and the Commissioner and the Minister for Justice wrote an opinion and said, "Don't cause crisis. You should not have that election." It was everywhere. So, but because they just wanted to cause crisis and put us in this state and make people at the grassroots to suffer, they went ahead to conduct that election. And let me tell you this: the governor said something, and he said the federal government is holding his money. He's lying. One, the Supreme Court judgment has said the state, there's autonomy now. The state does not have authority over the local government any longer. So they cannot collect money on behalf of the local government. And as I speak to you, these funds have been paid to these various local governments as I speak to you. And some of the traditional rulers have been paid by this local government as I speak to you. So it's a blatant lie that the local government funds have been withheld by the federal government. It's a blatant lie. Instead, it is the Osun State government that is going around with various legal bottlenecks to stop the access of those funds that have been paid into a commercial bank.
That's the question. That's the next question that I was going to ask you. I apologize. That's the next question I was going to ask you. Now that we know that that fund has been released, and we may want to speak to that some other time. But when you say that the state government does not have authority over the local governments, again, I'm wondering what state, because the House of Assembly still has constitutional oversight on the local governments, don't they? So what's the relationship between them, the local government chairman, and the House of Assembly?
Now, there's a July 2025 Supreme Court judgment that is clear of the local government autonomy. And you should also know that each of those local governments also have their own legislative houses. Now, if you are saying the State House of Assembly has an oversight on the local government, it must not be against what you have in the Constitution. For instance, the local government cannot wake up today and say the tenure of the House of Assembly cannot wake up and say the tenure of the local government chairman is going to be 4 years as against 3 years. This is a constitutional matter. So there is a legislative arm in each of those local governments. For instance, the local government chairman are taking budget to the legislative arm in their various local governments. So it is the local government that will pass the budget. It is the legislative arm comprised of the councillors that will pass the budget in various local governments. That is part of what the autonomy has now enhanced. The autonomy has now given powers to the local government councillors to now carry out some of the responsibility that ordinarily will have gone to the House of Assembly. Before now, some of the local government would take their budget to the House of Assembly. But with this autonomy now, the chairman will take their budget to the legislative arm of the various local government comprises of the councillor. That is part of what the local government autonomy had done. And one of the reasons why Mr. President did this is because he wants genuine development at the grassroots level.
I think we'll have to find time to, have a longer version so that let everybody come and explain, because both of you seem to be accusing each other of the same things. You said they were going around in circles, not going to court to challenge what has happened. They didn't appeal in Supreme Court. They are saying when OCEC conducted the elections, you didn't challenge it, and so on what authority are they continuing in office? And so
it's important we get this right.
It's
the
just
governor came, he lied that the federal government is holding money. We have shown to the world that funds have been released. The governor made a speech and he was so confused. He said their tenure has elapsed. But it's the same speech he said they are not supposed to be there. So it's even confused.
No,
so what we are saying is, what they are saying is simple. There's a law. There's a court of appeal judgment. Nigeria is not a banana republic. There's a court of appeal judgment.
On which judgment are they continuing in office right now?
It's the February 10th court of appeal judgment,
which says
they should come back to the office. At ab initio, the governor never had the power to sack you.
No, that judgment, when they came in, based on the elections that they were sacked in the first instance, supposed to have. That's what the government saying. It lapsed October 22. Yeah, but you're saying you've gone to court
because I just gave you an instance.
Say that
now, Aregbesola Oyinlola. Let me give you Aregbesola Oyinlola. Aregbesola started his judgment, his tenure from the day it was inaugurated back.
We'll find a way to revisit some of these matters because both of you are citing legal precedents to justify their cases.
No, they are not citing anyone.
No, they
are just conjoining precedent.
They have cited certain cases.
So and I expect you to tell me which cases.
Which
in
is
the
why
governor's speech, most of the cases he cited were not even relevant to what is on ground.
The same way they say yours is not relevant, so both of them are entitled to their opinions.
I'm telling you, this is
but
the law.
I have to thank you for coming on. You're not a lawyer, so you can't tell me that's what you think is the law. But thank you for coming on the same way. I appreciate you coming on this morning.